In the first decade of Turkey's republic, the majority of architects planned projects for Turkey while remaining in Germany, communicating through many translated letters. The architecture was inspired by pre-war German garden city ideals, which featured detached low-rise houses and private gardens, ample green space between buildings, functional houses, and orderly streets. They believed that the design of a group of houses in Germany could be repeated in Turkey, and even saw it ideal to apply a housing project designed for Germany to a site in Turkey. They were convinced that modernism was smoothly translatable. However, the outcomes were never a direct duplicate of German modernism, but significantly modified visions as they were transformed during translation. These translations varied from excessive domestication to abrupt intervention because they were set in motion by multiple agents, including invited foreign professionals, clients, state officials, and Turkish architects, all of whom had different opinions about the translatability of architecture. To summarize, such cross-cultural exchanges mobilized by many people in the 20th century greatly impacted urban and residential culture in Germany and Turkey. Moving from one place to another during this process of translation are not only people, but also capital, ideas, technologies, information, and images. Translation, as conceptualized by Ezra in Modernity and Translation, takes place under any condition where there is a cultural flow from one place to another. One inspiration for this creative project is Do It by Hans Ulrich Obrist, which is a curation of creative directions featuring artists, musicians, and designers that anyone, wherever in the world, can follow. I recreated Koo Jong-a's Untitled from 1997 for my Instagram post. This piece requires the creator to closely follow the chronology of instructions using a piece of paper and a marker, but not specifying whether backwards refers to tracing backwards from the current line or backwards from the marker's geographic perspective. This nuance in the instruction creates two different outcomes depending on the author's interpretation. It demonstrates how artworks can differ between creators who are capable of making their own judgment. As stated in Fernando's Language and Cultural Sensitivity, language allows people to connect with each other, and that language orders reason. But in a similar fashion, language too can become a tool for misunderstanding. In this case, the prompts work as the language that connects and drives creators to act. Another inspiration for this creative project is Yayoi Kusama's Obliteration Room, which starts with a room completely white. People then come in and they are given a sheet of colored stickers in different sizes, and then everybody is invited to place the stickers anywhere they like in the room, according to any pattern, idea, or anything they would like to do with the stickers. Just like Do It, Kusama is not in control of how the public understands and executes the instructions. They are left to act at their own whim to eventually finish the piece. Finding inspiration in Obrist and Kusama's work, I put up an installation called Leaf Me Up, an illustration that has an image of a leafless tree and a simple prompt that says, "Give me a leaf." This project aims to investigate the translation process that is motivated by the given prompt. The initial leafless tree was painted on an illustration board using acrylic paint. The project was installed for 3 days in 3 different places around the UP Diliman campus. It was installed in places where people would regularly pass by, along with an ink pad, scissors, and glue. The installation was transferred to another part of the campus every 24 hours for 3 days, and the results were observed at every end of the day. For the first day, the project was installed in one of the waiting sheds around Sunken Garden. When I returned the next day, there were people who added leaves using their thumbprint, and interesting leaves were also added using caution tape, rubber band, adhesive tapes, and real leaves. For the second day, the project was installed in Acacia residence halls. After a day of installation, more leaves were observed to be added using the ink pad. Some were added in cluster, and others were even added off the branch. It is now more noticeable to see variations in leaf sizes. The larger leaves from the previous day were surprisingly trimmed and duplicated into a few smaller leaves. Also, more actual leaves were added this time. For the third and final day, the project was installed near Area 2. A day after the installation, the tree is almost fully covered in leaves, most of it being thumbprints. There is also a noticeable addition of more unconventional choice for leaves, such as candy wrapper, confetti, and feather. For 3 days, the tree has acquired over 481 leaves, with 458 being thumbprints and 23 being attachments. It was observed that even though the prompt only asked for a leaf, many participants still added multiple leaves to the project. Furthermore, modification of previously added leaves was also observed in the earlier larger leaves, even when it was not asked from the participants. And finally, the participants were able to make the project resemble an actual tree. This project showed the process of translation from a single prompt to images or objects added to the illustration. These translations varied from thumbprints to caution tapes, as the prompt was set in motion by multiple agents who had different opinions about the installation. Much like Obrist works, the project has a quality of unfinishedness and incompleteness, for one cannot tell whether the tree has enough leaves or not. The individual leaves are not a part of the whole, but a succession of intertwined intensities, since the translations, despite being duplicates of each other, still have distinct meanings around them.